What is going to happen next year within Argentina is going to be perhaps some fighting. What I mean fighting is we have some low-cost companies that would like to enter within Argentina, but there are a lot of barriers. So I don't know whether these low-cost companies are going to enter or not, but what is a reality is that there is an opportunity of upside specifically in all what is domestic. So we've been with this company just for the past 10 months, because Aerolineas Argentinas is kind of a political company. So when you have a new government, then you have a new management. But the company has been in this market for 65 years. We lead the market by 80%. We have one competitor right now, and I don't think that is going to be a big change. What I mean is that I think that the market share is going to continue within that same level. It's going to be 80-20. If it is not 80-20, it's going to be 78-22 or 82-18. I think that that's going to be the same situation, but it's going to be a great increase in all domestic. But the increase is going to be for the market. I think that what is going to happen is that people that today is traveling by bus are realizing that within a similar price, they are going to be able to travel by air. That's what I think is going to happen, really. We have to work a lot with customer service and focusing customer. We have as I told you, there is a new team, and we have a CEO that has a lot of focus in all what is related to customer. So we have to really talk more what is related to service in the plane. We have to talk a lot about what is going to be related with the mobile. We don't have mobile. We don't have some things that are within the market that our competitors have, and I think that is going to be for that point. What also we have done this year, we have reduced some commissions that we were paying to agencies by far. And I think that is really happening in Argentina, in Aerolineas Argentinas, is that there is not a strategic plan. It's a company that were not handled professionally. We did a plan. It was a plan that were done just in 2 months. We are working in a plan in order to be in a 4 years period, the company at a break-even level for first time history. This is a company that, for you to have an idea, received some $700 million in subsidized by the government, average for the past 8 years. This year, that is the first year that we are in the company, we think that we are going to be in a level that's going to be less than $300 million, and we want to continue within that side. We have 3 kinds of planes in our fleet. We have Embraers for our fleet that we use within domestic. Those planes have an average of 6 years, more or less. Some of those planes were bought in 2010, some others in 2011, and that is a situation that I think is going to be within that for the next year, and perhaps we are going to see what we are going to do within that fleet, specifically mid of the next year. Then we have a plane that we use for domestic and regional, that is the Boeing, is 737. With the plan that we have is we are going to change 800 for 700. What we have today is 700s that we have a capacity of 128 passengers. We are going to change those planes for 737-800s, and we are going to increase our capacity by 32%. So basically, we are going to change planes that has 170 seats for planes that we have today and that has 128 seats. That is what we are going to do for this fleet. That is the fleet that we use part domestic and part regional. Then we have some fleet that we use for international. That is basically long hauls. That is a wide body, and we are doing right now a very big change. We have some fleet that have more than 20 years. That is Airbus 340. It's an old product, and it's also an inefficient product with 4 engines. So what we are doing is changing these 340s for 330s. Regarding your question, how we are financing these, specifically what is the plane that we are acquiring right now, that is 330s, we are doing final leases. What we have done is 3 months ago, we have signed an agreement within SHICAS, that is General Electric Capital Aviation Services. Part is going to be for three of the 737-800, and part of that loan was for 4 A330s. But basically, we're going to do some final lease, and that is what is being done for right now. In the future, if we change the fleet, it's going to be different the situation for the company. This is a specific business. I mean, the business of aviation, there's a lot of finance, and you have additional sources. I mean, you have the capital markets as all the industries, you have the banks, you have the credit agencies, and you also have the lessors and the manufacturers. What we are going to do, it's depend on the rates and the cost that's going to be with the company. So for what we did a couple of months ago, and we finished signing something with GCAS, is because GCAS had some option that was best than some other banks, but we were having conversation with all of them. Right now, what we are doing is we are having conversation with banks for some perhaps working capital that we are going to need for next year, and I think that specific needs that we are going to have is going to be just with banks, perhaps with some receivables that we are having. But if this is a fleet, for sure lessors are going to have a great participation. If it is not related to the fleet, we think that we are going to continue within banks. We are having relationship with first-class bank and first-class lessors. I mean, we are not doing business with somebody that is really not very well known. What we are doing right now is having a relationship with all the banks, having relationship with all the lessors, because we want to be ready, and we want all the banks and all the lessors to know the new management, to know what we are doing, to know our plans, in order to say, hey, this is what we want to do. But there is no a single week that we are not having a meeting with a bank or a meeting with a lessor. So the first 6 months, we were working a lot in order to have this signed deal with SHICAS. Since then, we have worked the past 5 months in order to have our conversation with all the investment banks. So what we are fine-tuning, I think in a month and a half, we are going to decide is which is the bank that is going to be the final definition, and that we are going to have the less cost in order to go ahead for some specific issue that we are looking for. One of the issues that we have, and it's a different issue within some of the companies in Argentina and a different issue with some airlines worldwide, is that we have no financial statements on time. I mean, we are running against time in order to have our 2016 financial statements being done and being audited by actually 2 of the Big Four companies. When we received the company 10 months ago, the company has the financial statements outdated by 3 years. So we are working really a lot, and with that is going to be a different situation, and Aerolineas is going to be able to access to capital markets. For the moment, what we are doing is just some private things and lessors, and what we are doing with this thing that perhaps we are thinking within receivables is going to be banks, but private placement. When we are going to have our financial statements on time, it's going to be a different situation, and at that moment, believe me, that we think that we are going to go within the capital markets. Not just the international, one thing that I think that in Argentina needs to happen is the capital market for Argentina needs to grow. If you see and if you compare the capital market in Argentina compared within the region, it's like this. All the capitalization for the companies that are listed in our stock exchange is 8%. If you go to Brazil, Mexico, Peru, and Colombia, is from 26 till 32% of the GDP. And if you go to Chile, it's more than 70%. And it's a similar situation within the corporate bonds. It's actually 5% of the GDP, what is happening here in this local market. If you go to other countries, it's like from 5 to 10 times more than. So if Aerolineas is going to have financial statement on time, and if the changes in the capital markets law are going as we think that is going, perhaps I think that we are going to follow that way. I think that it was a change in the country during the past year. There was a change within the government, and the country was kind of close to the world. Now, from my point of view, the country is like trying to open to the world, and Argentina is trying to say, here we are. A month ago, the president itself hosted a conference that it was for a business forum for all the world. So these kind of things that you are doing are great for us in order to have more relationship with the banks, more relationship with all finance issue, and it thinks that the country is being at a different level. So this that you did this year for the first time should be repeating for the following years. It's really great.